No, I never said that. See, I told you, it was all in your head. What are you even talking about? I don't get you. Have you ever been told these phrases and made to question your own perception of reality? Then maybe you have been gaslighted. Let's see what this means and how we can bring some balance. Hi, I'm Vasi Sarandopoulou. I'm a psychologist and relationship therapist. I'm here in AntiLoneliness channel so that I can shed more light on relationships and help you understand how you can bring more balance and more connection in them. Now let's see about gaslighting, what it means. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation in romantic relationships, but not only. You can also find gaslighting in family relationships, friend relationships, even relationships with colleagues. What do I mean a form of manipulation? It's when somebody changes the idea you have about the reality, about what has happened in the relationship, what has been said in the relationship, and make you question about your own sanity. You leave the conversation thinking that maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm the one that bringing the problem here, and what's really happening is not so bad. So when this happens, of course, in a very frequent basis, if this happens very often, that means that gaslighting is what is happening in the relationship, and it's a form of manipulation because it keeps you silent. It keeps you not wanting to go after your own needs and your own feelings and to express your own feelings. And I'm not saying that it only happens in abusive relationships. It can also happen in healthy relationships, but when we have been stumbling upon communication problems, and that can be one person continuously changing the perception of reality of the other person. Before I give you some specific behaviors of gaslighting so that you can understand it better, let me tell you what can be the signs so that you can understand and realize that what's happening to you and to your relationship is gaslighting. So here are some signs. First of all, as I said before, you doubt about your feelings and about the reality. You start questioning yourself whether you should feel that way or you should change it into another feeling or another emotional state. You start feeling guilty for having the feelings that you have. And that's something that we don't want. We want a relationship where we can freely express whatever we need or whatever we feel. You start questioning your judgment and your perceptions. So, what I mean with that, you start thinking that every time I express my opinion, there's conflict, there's fight, there's a lot of turbulence in the relationship. So, maybe me setting my opinion or communicating my needs to the person is not always good. So, when you are starting to be afraid of speaking up, that's a very strong sign that maybe you have been gaslighted. Another sign is if you feel vulnerable, if you feel like you have to tiptoe around your partner, if you feel that um, a miscommunication or a fight or a conflict or negativity is just around the corner, and that depends on what you do or say to your partner. So that makes you, of course, walk on eggshells around your partner. And of course, there goes freedom. Eh? Another sign can be if you start feeling alone, too different, or even you judge yourself as being too strange or weird. When you feel powerless, when you don't have anybody to lean on and confirm what has happened. Usually, these conversations where you have been gaslighted are happening when you are alone, when there are no witnesses. And that makes this powerless feeling even stronger because of course you don't have witness, you don't have people to support you in there. You only have your partner saying that you made things up or that you are crazy or unstable. And that makes you feel trapped. The only way is to just believe what the other person is saying because you are questioning yourself. And it goes without saying that sooner or later you will start questioning who you really are. What if I am really the person that my partner is saying that I am? What if indeed I make things up, or I'm too much, or I'm being too dramatic, or I'm causing trouble out of nowhere? What if this is the case with me? So, questioning yourself, not believing who you really are, and changing your self worth, self value is also a very strong sign. Two more strong signs: confusion and constantly apologizing. You are constantly in a state of, am I right or wrong? Did I perceive everything in the wrong way, or how did this happen to me? Constant confusion and constant apologizing. And there's nothing wrong with apologizing, but if you notice a pattern of you always apologizing and the other person always being right, wait a minute, that can be another sign as well. And last but not least, another strong sign is that when you realize that besides all this confusion and the second guessing, a very strong feeling that you're experiencing is fear. You're afraid that your partner will be disappointed with you. You're afraid that they will leave you. You are afraid that you are not meeting their expectations. And you're afraid that if this relationship fails, it's going to be on you. So you see, fear, shame, and guilt are very strong feelings underneath all this turbulence that is happening in the relationship. So, how many of these signs have you noticed in your relationship? How many of these signs have you identified? If you checked more than half of them, then I think that it's time that you start bringing up the healthy perspective in the relationship. And if you're not sure how to do that, then maybe it's time that you get some help in that. Now, let me explain now how gaslighting works. Gaslighting, of course, as I said, is a technique that undermines your perception of reality, right? So when somebody is gaslighting you, you're second guessing yourself, you're feeling doubt, you're feeling confused, and in the end, you may wonder that maybe there's something wrong with you. So, what is the other person specifically doing? And we call it gaslighting. Let's see these specific behaviors. First of all, they're lying to you. Indeed, what you said was true. Indeed, what happened did happen in the relationship, but the person is coming back with a lie. They don't want to face the responsibility or the consequences of what has happened. So it's easier for them to just change the reality, the perception of the reality. So it's very typical for somebody who's gaslighting you to completely lie to you in your face and to change their stories. And not only change their stories, but also never back down. They are firm. They are 100% sure that this is how it happened. And of course, you believe that if somebody's 100% sure, then probably they're right because I'm not 100% sure. I am 80% sure. So then I will believe them. But what they present is not, of course, the truth. They only present it as the truth. They say, I'm 100% sure that this never happened. So one behavior is lying and distortion. Keep that in mind. Second one, they're changing the subject or they're refusing to listen to what you consider as a lie or a different reality. And you see that even though we started talking about what happened yesterday, they move and they distract the conversation into what happened another day. But of course, when you are in the conversation and you are, of course, emotionally overwhelmed, you don't notice that this shift happens and then you move along. So, notice after you have conversations like that, how often you start from point A, but then you end up in something else. Another behavior included in gaslighting. It's when they're trying to make you feel as if you're overreacting. And of course, they're trying to minimize your feelings and your needs. It's when they're saying things like, oh, come on now, you're overreacting, eh? Or here comes the drama. And that makes you feel as if you are the problem for exaggerating what has happened here. They want to trivialize your emotions. And by trivializing these emotions, they actually feel more powerful and they make you feel more powerless. They make you feel as if you are the problem here. It's very normal when somebody never acknowledges our thoughts, our feelings, and our needs that sooner or later we will start questioning them ourselves. Another thing is what we call blame shifting. That means that instead of accepting their own responsibility, they blame you, which means that if you hadn't reacted like that, then I wouldn't be like this, or I wouldn't react like that. So instead of owning their actions, they're saying that their actions is the result of your behavior or of your feelings. Again, they don't take responsibility for their own actions and reactions, but they blame you for everything that happens, even to them. Another thing that I would like you to remember is that sometimes gaslighting happens with a facade of compassion. So you will hear somebody saying, well, it's okay that you remember it differently because I know you're tired and I know you went through a lot. I get it. It's okay that you remember it differently. But I'm here to tell you that it happened in a different way. It happened as I said that it happened. And it's okay if you don't remember exactly. It's fine. So you see, they're actually pretending that they're compassionate and understanding, while the actual message is, I will not believe you, whatever happens, and whatever you say is wrong. Another thing that I want you to notice when somebody's gaslighting you is how they are changing the story, rewriting the story. So maybe they were very loud, they were being very insulting and very offensive and very belittling, right? And they were saying wrong things and they were saying mean words to you. And when you bring that in the conversation later on with them, they will say, they will completely say that, no, I don't remember me being upset. I don't remember being offensive. I remember that we had a strong conversation and I remember that I was being upset, but I don't remember being offensive. No, no, no. I would never say things like that. So they're presenting a completely different idea of what has happened in the relationship. And they would actually try to build on this idea. And they would use arguments that will make you feel that maybe they're right. So they will say something like, no, but I'm not that kind of person, right? Am I? I would never say these things to you on purpose. I'm not that kind of person. And you know that I love you and you know how much I appreciate you. I will never use offensive or mean words to you, right? So, on one hand, you're thinking, yes, indeed, they love me. Indeed, they would not say such things to me if they love me. But on the other hand, yes, of course, they did say that. This indeed happened. So, trying to rewrite the history, trying to rewrite what has happened is a very strong element of gaslighting. So, of course, gaslighting has a huge impact on our mental health. Sooner or later, you will start doubting yourself, your thoughts, your feelings. Your self esteem, of course, will be devastated sooner or later. You will lose your self worth, your self value. You will start having a lot of negative thoughts around yourself. So, the sooner you find out that this is gaslighting, the better because you will start protecting yourself. And now that we said protecting yourself, what is it that you can do so that you can create this healthy boundary between you and the person who's gaslighting you? First and foremost, talk to other people about that. That will help you boost your healthy perspective. You will hear from other people what is right and what is wrong. The people that really know you and care about you, they will confirm the initial idea you have about yourself because before you start second guessing yourself. The second thing that you need to do is create this boundary between your responsibility and their responsibility. So when your partner's saying, look how you made me feel, or I reacted in the way because you did that, then confront them with, I'm responsible for my actions, you're responsible for yours. You cannot blame me for how you reacted. You are the one who is responsible for how you react. Maybe I had a poor reaction, but I'm not responsible for how you react to that. This is a very strong and firm boundary so that they will stop blaming you for whatever is happening in them, for whatever they're wrongdoing. Another thing that you might have heard already as a solution to gaslighting is write down the evidence so that you can actually see what is the reality and how many times your partner is gaslighting you. Even though this sounds like a good idea, at the same time, I don't want you to walk around in the relationship as an inspector. I don't want you to walk around with a checklist or with your phone or notebook making notes of how often somebody says something or what has happened all the time. This is more like an audit and less than a relationship. So, what I would suggest is trust yourself. Trust that what you remember is real. It's not there for nothing. It's not coming out of nowhere. There must be something that triggered, or there must be something that created this memory in your head. So trust yourself that what you have experienced is true. I'm not saying that you impose that truth to the other person. No. But when somebody says, well, you don't remember correctly, what I suggest that you try is um, maybe we have a different perspective on what has happened in our conversation yesterday. However, I don't like when you make me feel that I am crazy and I imagine all these things. There is some truth in there. There is some reality in what I remember. And I get it that maybe sometimes, especially when we are upset, we don't remember things exactly, but I don't like when you make me sound like a crazy person. That needs to stop. So what you are presenting to this person is, well, I get it. I respect that maybe you have a different perspective of the reality, but I don't want you make me seem like a crazy or a paranoid person. Is that clear? So let's try with these steps and then see how this changes the relationship. A person in a healthy relationship, a partner in a healthy relationship, when you set these boundaries, they will stop and listen. They will adjust. They will learn something from you and they will take it from there. A person in a manipulative, abusive, toxic relationship, they will resist back again and again and again. But you have to try and then you will have your answer what kind of relationships you're in, right? I hope that this offered you some insights on what is gaslighting and what you need to prepare yourself for. Make sure you subscribe so that you can see more videos on relationships and mental health. And I'm looking forward in reading more comments about your experience and your thoughts on gaslighting. Talk to you soon. Take good care of yourself.